Lyss from Everything But the Books, Sarah and Lyss. It's Lyss. This is week 4, and actually, we're going to do a monthly wrap up as well. Mostly because I just completed that in my book journal. We can talk about my book journal if you want. But we're gonna do it that way. Okay. Also, if you hear my husband in the background, he's playing Pathfinder. So if you hear him, I'm not sorry. He has fun things to do too. And I know I'm late, and this is Tuesday night versus an episode out Monday night, and I don't think this episode will go out until Wednesday because I have to edit, and it's almost my bedtime because I'm in sleepy. So with that, we will just dive right in. I would be remiss if I didn't show you what shirt I was wearing. Picked it especially out because number 1, it is my favorite color, which is yellow, and 2, it's from a book, obviously. It's Dune. Also a nice boob shot. There you go. Oh yeah, for those who can't see this, if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere you get your podcasts, it is a crudely drawn image of a sandworm and 2 people. Yeah, it's not official merch, obviously. Okay, sorry, regardless. Let's get back into it. So, starting off this week with the romance rivalry by Susan Lee. This was a first for me. I got this off of Spotify. I don't know if you know this, but Spotify has audiobooks, and this was for free, and I don't even think it had an ad. I don't know if that's like bypassing the system or what, or anyway, it was great. I really liked it. It was really funny in the beginning because she was like absolutely nailing me on the head. She was like, oh, this girl wants to go and be in like the publishing world or like a book talk person. She's read all these books. She's doing a podcast. She's done these things on social media. And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's me. Wow. Am I annoying? Is this? Ooh, maybe I am. But it was still a really cute book. The premise is that, again, this is, I can't remember. I'm very bad with character names. Like a week later, I can tell you the plot of a book, but I can't remember character names. I'm so sorry. But our main character, she is very active on social media with books and I wouldn't say like book talk, but like definitely like Instagram. She's got some deals going on, and she's really built up her business. And we learned this about her very early on, and that she wants to go to college. She's actually the youngest in her family, and she feels kind of left out because her sister's doing this big thing with beauty, and her brother is doing either some kind of tech or medicine or something like that, or maybe it's video games. Honestly, that's very stereotypical, and I'm so sorry, but I just can't remember. But she feels very not seen by her family, and like they do these fun things together, but she still feels like she's not connecting. So she's going to college at the same place where her dad went, so now her dad is giving her more attention. At least it seems that way from her perspective. And in these online spaces, there has always been this male character. It's Aiden reads romance or something like that. And he always comments either on her stuff or some of the books she's read, and kind of introduces this antagonistic view. I mean, maybe not antagonistic, but is just definitely a different view. She kind of sees like each book. I mean, I think even the main characters, the male, I think his name's Aiden. Aiden says this to, oh, I can't remember his name, but he says, you always read the books and you can't find anything bad about them. Whereas he will take a viewpoint of, oh, I didn't like this, where she kind of glosses over that and just gives you the silver lining or looks at it through a rose colored glasses, which I mean, I agree with in a way. I really don't give many 1s or 2s out on Goodreads unless like they're really, really lacking something, whether it's character development, it's poorly written, that kind of stuff. But I always feel bad because these are real people too, right? They put their heart and their soul into books. It may not be your thing, but at least you read it. Like, you don't just get to bash on a book. But she ends up going to this college, and then she ends up getting paired with this, and Aiden reads romance. And so it's about how they get into a contest about who can find love first, and using bookish tropes. And it's just a very cute, fun read. And what I really liked about it was that the main female character, she actually went through a lot of growth. Like, she just didn't, and you see it throughout the book versus just at the end, which I really, really enjoy, because it's not just a culmination of an effort and you just see the thing. Like, you just see like the happily ever after, and that's it. You don't get to see the beyond, but we get to see her ups and downs throughout, and she's learning about herself as she's like going to college for the first time. So I thought that was a really, really good like fit, and it was just really well done. Overall, I rated that a 4 stars. And again, off Spotify. Who knew? The second book that we'll talk about this week. We have 6 books. So second, 2 out of 6 is The Apothecary Diaries #3. I freaking love Apothecary Diaries. So I saw this as an anime first. Again, Crunchyroll, Netflix. And then I found out, I mean, I knew the anime was based on the manga, but I didn't realize that it was also novels, like light novels. That's what they're called. They're not just called novels, they're called light novels. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's just based on the manga, which is derived like into anime. I don't know. Regardless, I'm reading it again to fill the void, because season 2 just ended. It has ended, and we are not getting anything until, I think we're actually supposed to get maybe like a movie at the end of 2026. Fingers crossed. But season 3 is not expected to premiere until like maybe like second quarter 2027, if that. And so I'm filling the void, because oh my gosh. This follows Mao Mao and her journey. This is actually, so what's really cool is that, again, there are 2 seasons of the anime, but the novels are separated out like half seasons. So book 1 is half of the first season. Book 2 is the second half of this first season. Book 3, which I just finished, is the first half of the first half of the second season. And so I have books 4 and 5, because 4 will obviously be the end of season 2, and then book 5 will be season 3. Again, I'm just reliving it at this moment, which makes me want to rewatch the anime, which would be like the 3rd time I've rewatched it. Regardless, this book has the frog scene, and it's really funny, and I'm not spoiling any of it because I want you all to watch it, because it's just such a brilliant piece of work. It's very like whodunit in a way. Like, there's always something that Mama has to figure out. She is basically, she learned how to be an apothecary from her father. But while she was growing up, she grew up in a brothel, and her like grandma, basically, her grandmother figure, basically, is the owner of this brothel. And so she grows up in this environment, and then she learns how to be an apothecary from her dad, or really just like learns medicine and things like that. And then she ends up getting like kidnapped and taken away to the rear palace, and like ends up working in the rear palace for the emperor, basically. And then they find her out, and she gets like not elevated, but she becomes like a poison taster, which is, oh no, so sad. She loves poison. Oh, don't definitely put me there. This girl loves poison. Like, she's tried some stuff on herself. Like, she is in it to win it with the poisons. And like chaos ensues. But then you realize it's all like, they may seem like individual things, like, oh no, who poisoned this well? Or these soldiers got sick. Oh no, what caused that? And things like that. And you all think they're like one-offs, but it all like culminates, and it's like a very, very good story. Meanwhile, Mao Mao, I wouldn't say it's a love interest, because it's definitely not yet. I'm hoping. I'm very much hoping. The walls are slowly coming down. But Jinchi, Master Jinchi, is a eunuch in the rear palace, and like, he's very, very beautiful. Like, it's crazy. Like, even like everybody remarks upon it, like, who is that man? Why is he so angelic looking? Like, it's ridiculous. Mao Mao is absolutely disgusted by him, which makes Jinchi like love her even more, or like obsessed with her even more, and they begin to form like a relationship. It starts off very much mentor mentee, I guess. Maybe not mentor mentee, but he employs her basically to help him figure out some of these cases. And so we see their relationship grow from like Mama's like very frosty, very like, ew, he's too pretty. I don't trust him. Doesn't make sense. And he's like, she's frustrating, but I like her spunk. And then they become like teammates and they start like solving things together, and it's just really wholesome. It's really wholesome. I love it. Go watch it. Oh, and then you get to the frog episode and you'll see why it's called the, like, I call it the frog episode. Like, if you know, you know, and it's amazing. So read it. I rated that as a 5 because duh, I'm absolutely enamored with this series. So that was actually a physical book too, so I'm very proud. I don't have as much time as I would like with physical books. I like to, again, read audio or listen to audiobooks because I can do stuff with my hands. I can do it while I'm riding into work, things like that. So this was really cool because I got to actually physically read it, and that makes me proud. Book 3 is called The Problem with Wishes. I don't know why I wrote witches. That's why I paused. It's The Problem with Wishes, not witches. Gotta fix that on here. This is by Hazel Calder. I got this actually from NetGalley, so I re-upped my NetGalley subscription. Not really subscription because it's all free, but I revisited NetGalley mostly because at work right now I can only access a certain network and I can't get to some websites. And what I mean by that, like I can't even do like New York, like the New York Times crossword. Like I don't have access to that, and I can't get access to some of my other work I do. I know that's very vague, but I now work for one organization and I used to work for a different organization, and those organizations don't talk to each other. And this is only just for like a year, so I am coming up and being creative, and I'm in a space where I can't have electronics. So again, I tried NetGalley and it worked. So keep that on the down low. But NetGalley is a place where you can get advanced reader copies of different books. You have to apply for it, and like if you get approved, like they give you the book basically like ebook reader format. You can read it on your Kindle, you can read it in their web browser, which is what I'm doing at work. So this was an advanced copy of Hazel Calder's A Problem with Wishes, and I absolutely loved it. This is about a big business lady who is working for this like beauty magazine, basically. It's very Devil Wears Prada and 13 Going on 30. If you combine those two, that's basically like the main female character. Like she kind of goes through some of those same trials. The fantasy-ish romance, the fantasy piece of this romance book is that she ends up like summoning or unleashing a genie, and spoilers, he's hot. And so of course, like it's classic, like 3 wishes, and she ends up learning a lot about herself, and it's not about like wasting wishes, but like cause and effect, basically. It's like second and third order consequences. Yeah, second and third order effects, basically, of said wishes. And so she goes through it, and this was just very wholesome too. Yes, there's some she has a boyfriend in this book, and so you get to learn about the relationship with the boyfriend, and then the genie comes along, and again, he's hot, so it's like, will they, won't they? Oh, but she's got a boyfriend, so she's not going to, but that doesn't mean they can't flirt, I guess, in this book. Again, it was just really, really good. I don't want to say too much about it because I want you guys, again, to read it. This book does not come out until, that's a good question. Oh, this is just out now. This is published as of yesterday, August 3rd. So yeah, you can go read it. Get it, because it's really good. I very much enjoyed that. I ended up giving that a 4. The 4th book, yeah, the fourth book. Yeah, the fourth book that we're talking about is one of my favorites. This is, I'm gonna actually have another segment with Cassie because I absolutely love her. But this was Battle Beyond the Veil by Cassie Sanchez. So Cassie has been a longtime friend at this point. When Sarah and I first started EBTB, Cassie somehow found us. Either, I can't remember via socials. I might ask her that question, but she found us and she gave us her first book, Chasing the Darkness series, and we read it. We loved it, and then I had like told Cassie I'd be interested in like beta reading for her second book, so I did. And beta reading was such a fun, it is such a fun process. And so I've worked with Cassie for 3 of her other books. So she has a total of 4 books, and I worked on 3 of them with her, and it's an absolute delight. What happens is that Cassie sends me like her semi-edited manuscript. And I know other people do it different ways, but the way that I like to do it is by chapter. Give you start off with a running monologue of like, while I'm reading, like, oh my God, holy shit, oh, I like this, I like that, or something. And then she has questions of like, are they real? Are the characters realistic? Is there anything you liked? Is there anything you didn't like? That kind of stuff. And with this book, with Battle Beyond the Veil, number one, I love the premise of it. It is like angels and demons in a modern setting. One of my favorites, older series, which again, it could be looking at through rose-tinted glasses at this point, is Blue Bloods by Melissa De La Cruz, and this is very much a continuation, I guess, of that in a different way. It get angels and demons, and like they're here in our world, we just can't see them, but they're mingling with us, but they can be perceived in our world if they want. Like I just love that kind of stuff. And so with Battle Beyond the Veil, our main character, Zara, she is an archaeologist and she's not an archaeologist. She is a museum curator, and she has come up with this brilliant exhibit at one of, I think it's Boston's like museum or something like that. Can't remember, which is really bad. Sorry, Cassie, if you're listening or watching. But Zara has this exhibit and she's missing one piece, and so she's waiting on an archaeologist to send her this piece. Thus, now we get into Angels and Demons, and they're like, she starts off the book with this prophecy, and you're like, okay, this prophecy is going to come into play. Like, again, angels and like the main, like the archangels and the devil and like all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really good. I very much enjoyed it. I love how being able to see the difference between the advanced or her beta version of the book versus how it ended up. I'm not gonna lie to you, I hated a character so much in this book, and this is probably like the first time Cassie has ever had me be like, I hate this man. Don't take him back. He doesn't deserve this. But one of the plot points is that Zara's ex-boyfriend comes back into her life through like a museum. I don't know how to explain it. Like a man who is also obsessed with that time period like Zara is, and so he comes back in as like an executive assistant basically. But he comes back into her life, and in the beta copy, he just seemed very smarmy. Like it just didn't flow. And I told Cassie this a bunch of times. I'm like, he's being weird. I don't like him. I don't want him to win. I want her to end up with this angel man. The angel man is who I want. And Cassie's like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. Which is very funny. But in the finished product and her final product, her ex-boyfriend is very much more likable. It is not as vehemently, you're not like, ew, this guy's being weird. Like, you're like, oh, like I can see it more, I guess. It's just, it feels better, and it's not, I don't know. Just read it and you'll understand. I have reached out to Cassie, and so Cassie said that she would like to be a part of an episode, so we're going to talk more about the book. So there will be spoilers for that episode, so if you want to read it, you should do that now. I rated this as a 4.5. again, loved it. The 5th book I read was Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shetterly. So this was basically the premise for the Hidden Figures movie. This was, again, about the women who at NASA were responsible basically for doing a lot of the calculations and computations for getting like the rockets, the shuttles, and even man on the moon. Or like into space, basically. This was amazing. It was such an interesting look, and it's just so sad to see some of the same things that were like in the 1960s still happening in 2026 against African American people. It's just so sad. It makes me really upset. What I liked was that I had seen so many clips of Hidden Figures that I couldn't actually remember if I had seen the movie all the way through. I hadn't, so I rewatched it after. I think I only made about halfway through the book Hidden Figures. And I was like, I want to watch the movie. So I ended up watching the movie, and then going back into the book. But there's just so much more in the book that obviously is not shown on TV. TV is to make it compelling. Like, some of these things might have been personally said, but they weren't from the book. Like when Catherine in the movie, she gets confronted by her boss of like, where do you go for 45 minutes every single day? And she that's her last straw, and she blows up about like how her bathroom, the colored bathroom, is like a half a mile away. She has to run there, and she works a lot, and nobody will take her seriously. And they even put a colored coffee pot because like they didn't want her to touch their coffee. Like, she like blows up in the movie. This wasn't specifically in the book, but regardless, the book was great. Again, you get to see Catherine and how she has how she grew up and how she became Catherine Johnson, basically, and as well as the other members in the book. I am so bad at names. I'm so sorry, but you know what I mean. I thought it was a really great book. I did this as a 5. The last book we'll talk about is The Witching Moon Manor. So this is actually the 2nd book in the Spellbound Sisters. This was the 2nd to the Crescent Moon Tea Room, and I really like that book. And so this is the sophomore book of that series. This was good in such a different way. In the first book, 2 out of the 3 sisters either had love interests or like something different going for them. The 3rd sister, yes, she was becoming a seer, basically, with her own power. However, like, we didn't really get to see that progress, and that's kind of her story in this second one, is what happens after, obviously, what happens after the first book, but what happens after the sisters kind of part their ways and then come back together, and part their ways and come back together. So it's just more exploration of that, and also continues with some of the unfinished business that we had in the first book. I like the new characters we got in this book. I like the return of old characters in this book. This was also very, very heartwarming. I feel annoyed that I read it during a really hot month. This series, I think, is best read in like an October, November timeframe, where it's crisp, it's fall, and you can wrap up with a cozy blanket and sit and read or listen to it, because reading it in sweltering heat is not the same. You hear all the autumn, you hear all the fall stuff that's going on, and you're like, I'm sweating my ass off right now. This sucks. I rated this as a 4. But yeah, I thought it was really great. Okay, that's all I read for this week. But we'll do a wrap up, because again, so this, I've put so many stickers on it. I'm sorry, but this is my book journal, basically. And so what I like about it is that, number one, she very chunky, but it is more than just like a reading log. So I do have a reading log where I write the list, the title of the book and the ratings I give it. But again, it's so much more. I can put in reading challenges, series trackers, favorites, and habits. My favorite is the shade-in grid. And so I get to color code like how many books I read in a month. at like a quick glance basically for me, and then I do my genre tracking. All the different colors are different genres. I label them down here. And again, prevailing so far is definitely romance, but it's actually closely followed by fantasy and then nonfiction. So that's fun. This one's a little sad. This is my format. There's 3 formats that I have: audiobook, like an ebook, Kindle type thing, and then physical. It's mostly audiobooks, obviously. Got my nighttime Kindles in there and the 2 physical books I've read. So that's fun. But again, then we start into the actual meat and potatoes. So it's broken out by month. And so I'm able to write down, and some of the things that are captured are the number of books in that month and the number of total years. So I could be the start of August, I've read 1 book, but that's technically 166 book, if you will. My start date, my finish date, my rating, the title, the author, if it's part of a series, I have the page numbers, what genre it is, what source it is, what the format is, if I owned or borrowed it, and then age. So I kind of take that differently, but that's kind of what it looks like. If you can see, if my camera will focus. It's not going to, but just a visualization. But what I also like about it, I've kind of cheated and have already done my August ones, but here's my Julys. They come with little puzzles at the end of each month. About, like, sometimes it's a word search, sometimes it's a word jumble, there was a crossword, fill in the blanks, like, it's just like fun bookish things. Also with that, they do recaps, and so that's what we're gonna go after today. So these pages basically. So in July, I read 29 books, which is tied for the most books I've read in a month with January. I've never read 29 books ever besides January. That's a lot for me. So that's fun. I did, although had better or longer books than I did in January. So January's was like 9,183 pages. July's is 9,911 pages. So I beat that. It does have a it does have a block in here for audiobook time or length, and I just say I don't know because it's a lot. It's a stupid amount. I know I could calculate it, but I just don't want to. My average rating, however, is a 3.965. I DNF is 0. I try to make it a point not to DNF. I just haven't come across a book that I just don't want to read. If I don't like it, I will probably still spike finish, just because I want to be able to provide a review that reflects the entire book versus just a piece of it. So I will suffer through and just push on. I've reread a total of 1 book, and that was The Clockwork Prince. There were 13 books that were part of a series, and 16 standalones. I owned 7 of these books, whether that is like owned on Audible or physically, and then I borrowed 22. So again, usually Kindle or Libby, basically. The best book that had the best trope or twist to me is Yesteryear, and that may not be true for all of July, but that is the book that stands out the most, just because it was kind of recent. The most quotable is obviously Dungeon Crawler Carl with "Goddamn it, don't it?" I kind of say that a lot, and now we've said it to our cats. And it's so funny because one of our cats is named Donut, not after Dungeon Crawler Carl, but because he was found outside of a Dunkin' Donuts. So there was one twin called Duncan, and the other was Donut, and we got Donut. So, God damn it, Donut. My most read format was obviously audiobook. I never have to guess on that one. My most read genre was romance and fantasy. They were both tied for 8 books each. The highest rating I gave was a 5, and the lowest rating I gave was a 2. again, I don't really like to give ones unless they really, really earn it. And there are some books out there that have earned it. My most read source was Libby. Obviously, can't. I'm never sponsored. I just love Libby so gosh darn much. I have, I think 3 library cards, Pentagon, Minot, and Alexandria, and it's a blast. I freaking public libraries are awesome. That's all I have to say. The shortest the shortest read and the length was War is a Racket by Smedley Butler, and that was at 79 pages. And the longest read and length was A Clockwork Prince at 501. My July favorites, I have Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke, just because it was just that book just sticks with me. I think about it a lot. Like a lot. So much so that I had posted on EBTB socials about like me being like, what the fuck was that book? My mom commented, she's like, tell me, I want to read it. So I bought it for her. And she read it and she goes, yeah, that was crazy. My mom has fostered a love of books in my life. I was the kid who was not allowed to go to their room if they were in trouble, because I'd be like, oh no, go to my room and read my book. Oh no, how sad. Like, my penance was like sitting on the couch doing nothing, and I hated it. But my mom has always fostered the love of reading. She had a huge library when I was growing up, and so that has led to over 1,200 books I now have in our house. The second book that I really liked in July was Lady Tremaine, again by Rachel Hockhauser. That was just such a unique take on a person that we have deemed a villain in fairy tales, and I just think that's fabulous. Third favorite was How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wexler. That was just such a fun read and just so unique, and I just loved it. These are all kind of really recent books. Nothing from the beginning, which is sad. The fourth one is The Crescent Moon Tea Room. This one just made me think of my best friends, and how even though we have gone basically our separate ways, meaning that we're no longer living in the same place, that we still find time to come back together. And I think that's beautiful with the power of sisterhood. That's by Stacy Sivinski. One that made it on that was really recent was The Problem with Wishes by Hazel Calder. I really, really like this book. I'm gonna have to go out and buy it so I can put it on my shelf, because I just thought this was such a good book overall, and like growing and just maturing, and like the growing pains of being in like your late 20s, early 30s, and trying to have shit figured out, and you actually don't, and that's okay, and how you can learn from things. I just thought it was good. It was very heartwarming. I have an honorable mention, which is Scandal of the Summer. That one is by Alexandra Vasti. That was also good, just because of the pirates and the fakeness, and they fall in love, and it was good. There's good spice too. So that's it. That is my July. Questions, comments, concerns. What's also fun is that this is obviously divided up into 2. So like there was at the end of June, there was like a mid-year check-in, and got to like write down like my goals for basically this last half of the year. And then at the end of the year, there is a huge thing about 2026 and books. So I guess be prepared for that. Oh, I can't even. That's going to be so much calculating. I hate calculating. I'm bad at math, all right? I'm on Duolingo math for a reason. But that's all I have. As always, follow us on Instagram. We do have a TikTok, even though Sarah and I are no longer allowed to be on TikTok. So that's all old content, but you can follow us there as well and go see all of our old stuff. But we're very active on Instagram. You can reach out to us on our website if you are an author and would like us to read your book. let us know. We love that shit. Again, you can find all of our contact information on EBTB's website or our Instagram. So thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Bye.